100 FM, the Pike, Worcester's rock station at 836 and the Cars. So every year, Matt Vautour from Mass Live, one of their great sports writers, has predictions for 2020 or for the fall for the year coming up. And so this one is great. So we got Matt on the phone here. Matt, how you doing, man?
Hey, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Great. You did pretty good with last year's predictions. You said it was going to be KC and Dallas in the Super Bowl. You said the Sox will win the AL East. You said Josh McDaniels is going to be head coach of the Bears, and that Aaron Rodgers would end up with the Broncos.
I like to think that there's somebody out there that really wishes that sports gambling was legal in Massachusetts so he could follow all of these and couldn't bet on them,
right.
and save himself thousands of dollars because it wasn't legal yet and he wasn't able to take my picks and use them.
Well, you said Tom Brady would also retire in the 2022 season.
I kind of think that still might happen. I believe, I'm going to paraphrase him slightly because I believe he said he'll retire when he stinks. There's been several games this year when he stunk. So, I mean, I think if they make a respectable run in the playoffs a little bit, he might decide that it's not getting better.
Right. And then you said, I love this one, Antonio Brown will be suspended for at least 3 games for something in the 2022 season.
How many games did he play?
He kind of took care of that himself, didn't he?
He kind of did. Maybe he's suspended for 17 games very quietly.
Well, let's go on to the list for this year. And
this year I've got it. This year I've got him down. This year it's going to be great.
Well, you said Rafael Devers' days are numbered here in Boston.
Oh, he nailed that one.
Well, that's true. I guess his days are numbered. They're 365 days now.
Right.
All right. Technically, you got that right. All right. But you also said Chris Sale will win 12 games this upcoming Red Sox season.
So some of these, both of these are a little bit more based on logic than some of my picks. But we'll go with the point on Devers is and it goes. I also said I thought John Henry would sell the Red Sox, and I think all these things are somewhat connected. Does John Henry seem remotely interested in big spending to get to the way he did, to really being in on top free agents? And they seem even less interested in keeping their own guys.
Yeah,
they'd rather spend money on Trevor Story than Xander Bogaerts, and so Devers kind of fits that, and so he's a guy he's gonna ask for $30 million plus, and at his age that's not unreasonable because he's a guy that can he's not that old. You could move him to first base and DH somewhere down the line. And those numbers aren't going to be that big by the end of a 10-year contract. That's not crazy. And I don't see the Red Sox having any interest in going there right now. And so I think Devers is going to end up someplace else.
I can't believe
whether it's walking as a free agent or as a trade.
I was going to say I can't believe he agreed to a 1-year deal.
That's just avoiding arbitration. Yeah. That's a nothing. That's you'll see a bunch of guys around the league that are of a certain age and certain service time in the next few weeks that agreed to arbitration. That they were going to have to come up with something, or they were going to go in and argue in front of the arbitrator. That's not really anything significant toward any of this.
You also said John Henry is going to start the process of selling the Red Sox this year, and that doesn't seem too wacky to me at all. I mean, he's selling Liverpool, right?
Right.
I think is he unloading because he's just getting ready to retire and.
It certainly feels that way, which should make people that work at the Globe a little nervous. Honestly,
yeah, that's true.
Given that, I do think he just bought the Penguins.
Yeah.
So
okay.
So I'm not entirely sure what his end game is, but He doesn't feel motivated to be with the Red Sox that much longer, and I think he's somebody that at least a little bit resents that he isn't beloved as a guy that, and to some degree he's got a point. He brought 4 World Series to a city that had none in 86 years, and somehow he's hated by a lot of the fan base, which is crazy. If you would have said that you'd have said that before 2004, that would have seemed insane. But just kind of his lack of availability, he's kind of has become this mysterious guy that nobody ever sees.
Yeah.
And now it seems like he's not really that interested in being competitive. I can't figure out what they're trying to do this off season, and some of it feels like maybe he's starting to think it's time for somebody else.
And then let's move on to the Patriots. You say they're going to be a playoff team next season. I mean, that's not wacky either. I can see that. They got to get their
playoff team now. They should, like, if you look at this Patriots team, if their offense had been, we'll use the word coordinated correctly, that they should be a playoff team now. They're plenty good enough to be there with the Chargers and the Titans and so forth. Like they're plenty good enough to be a wild card team. Sure, they're not as good. They're not as good as the Bills. They're certainly as good as the Dolphins. Certainly, if match up with the Chargers, it should be.
There's a lot of ifs, Adam. It's he's making predictions.
I'm saying if they didn't blow the game in
Phoenix, that's true. Yes,
if they didn't lose the other game last week,
That's what
they missed a lot of short putts.
Yeah, right. Yes. And then finally, you call Tom Brady. You say Tom Brady is going to be a Raider. That he really wants to go with the 49ers, but they're not interested. So the Raiders are probably looking for a quarterback. I can see that because of Josh McDaniels.
Interesting,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that makes a ton of sense to have him there. They're disillusioned with David Carr. Now you wonder if Jared Stidham has another great week, is the Raider fans all of a sudden excited about the shiny new guy, and maybe they're not as motivated to get somebody like Brady. But he certainly, I think he makes sense there. I could see him setting up a big TV 12 outlet in the shopping area of one of the fancier casinos there, and kind of building his lifestyle brand in Las Vegas as well.
Yeah, I would Josh McDaniels want Tom Brady though, because that comes with a lot of baggage, and I know that they've worked well together, and this is a different Tom Brady though. This is a very brittle Tom Brady. Is he like Bill Belichick, where he's like, I need to prove that I can do it without him?
I don't think so. I think the two of them have like vacations together and things. I think those two are pretty close. I think Brady and McDaniels, I think it is a bit of a different thing. He was not only his offense coordinator, but his quarterback coach. I think the two of them have a real appreciation for each other, and I think Brady would go out of his way to make things a little easier for McDaniels, knowing where McDaniels is in his tenure with the Raiders.
So over the years, of all the predictions that you've made, what would you say is the prediction you're most proud of that actually came true?
I was thinking about that a little bit the other day. I predicted before it started becoming everybody predicting it. I had Gronk retiring the first time.
Wow, nice.
On January 1st. Like by the time they got to the Super Bowl that year, everybody was kind of talking about it. But I picked that one in there, and I had the Red Sox hiring Dave Dombrowski. Actually, now that I think about it, that was just a prediction that wasn't in the year-end column, but I did have them hiring Dave Dombrowski shortly after he'd been let go before that. So those two off the top of my head are probably two of the best.
Cool.
Well, Matt Vautour from Mass Live, Westborough's Matt Vautour from Mass Live. Thank you so much. Hey, listen, real quick, regarding the Hamlin situation and the Bills, you actually in here you call for the Bills to win the Super Bowl this year. You're calling the Bills and the Eagles, but what do you think the NFL is going to do this week as far as the Bills? The Patriots are supposed to play them on Sunday. That game is still going to happen as far as we know. But how do you think they're going to handle that? You think they'll postpone more games due to this?
I think the Patriots and Bills will play. I think they will. I'm sure the Bills are getting a lot of offers for like mental health assistance.
Mm-hmm.
And now I don't know how that changes if Hamlin takes a turn for the worse.
Right.
Toward the end of the week. I'm not sure how that plays itself out. It's obviously a not ideal situation for the NFL because the season is this close to done. It's obviously not an ideal situation in anything. And I think especially the teams involved have done a really admirable job of saying that Hamlin matters. These other things are lesser, and I think that's definitely true. But if you're looking at it strictly from a how do you handle this logistically, I'm guessing that they have left over from COVID plans in place for what to do if teams finish the season with an unequal number of games.
Right. Okay.
If that happened, and I think they would use that. The interesting idea that I heard somebody say the other day that might potentially be a really good move toward fairness and actually make some potential money for either the league, which they could use for charitable purposes, they could do whatever, is the big thing that the Bengals, the Bills, and the Chiefs are all competing for right now is that first round bye. Give it to so I don't think this is going to happen, but I'm going to put it out there because I think it's interesting. What if you gave it to nobody and added an eighth team into the playoffs, and that way nobody loses a bye because everybody ends up the same, and so all of those teams get home games and they all end up on the same footing in the playoffs.
Interesting.
That seems crazy, but I like the idea of an outside the box approach to it.
Yeah.
Quick thought. I brought this up to some football fans yesterday. How important is the 2-week bye between the last playoff game and the Super Bowl? And if they had that makeup game and then pushed everything up a week, and they only had 1 week before the Super Bowl.
I think that would be fine. The question is there's a lot of things that come into running a playoff game in Super Bowl. Do they have the personnel set for that? Do they have the hotel set for that? I don't know. And would they legitimately push the entire playoffs back, or the entire AFC playoffs back at least for that? I don't know. This is a time of year where people are planning for it. You could certainly, if you look at it only logically, of course that would be an easier way to do it. But they'll lose money if they do that. And the question is will that be something that they're willing to do? I don't know. NFL doesn't like losing money very often.
No, but in this case, there's obviously everyone's thinking about Hamlin here, so. That's really the important thing. But Matt Vautour from Mass Live, thank you so much for joining us and enlightening us on some of your predictions. I tweeted out that list of predictions for 2023 at 100 FM The Pike. So thank you very much, Matt. We appreciate you coming on with us.
No problem. Next year, you guys are gonna have to give me predictions of your own to go up against me for that.
Okay. You asked for it, buddy. All right. Thanks a lot, Matt.
You.